Okie dokie, boys and girls. So today is the day that we will be baking a new cake. And by cake, I mean we will do some new training because up until this point, I've been doing same or similar training, I should say, every time, right? Like months upon months, I've done the same type of training. I've used the same recipe for my cake, right, so to speak, because it kept getting me result. The cake kept turning out delicious. But now it feels like I've plateaued a little bit. It's difficult to progress with the same type of training. And that's where you change things up. You make a different cake because if you keep making the same shit, at some point, you're going to be tired of it. Or, the nutrients are not going to help you anymore because you've had too much of them. Whatever, right? However you want to look at it, at some point, you're going to have to change your training. And many people ask me, like, when I train, should I, how many sets should I do? Should I do this and that together? Should I do planche and front lever together on the same days? Should I do push pull legs or should I do something else, right? The best answer that you have is to just do it, right? And I'm not even sponsored by Nike or Shia LaBeouf or whatever, right? But just fucking do it, right? If you want to find out if the training is working, you have no choice but to try it because otherwise you won't know for sure, right? So you just take some type of training, throw it at the wall, see if it sticks. Take your recipe, put it in the oven, see if it turns out well. And if it doesn't, well, then you can scrap it off the list. You can try something else until you find something that sticks, until you find something that turns into a delicious cake and gives you results, right? That's basically the principle of training. It doesn't hold a lot of meaning to just ask these questions of, oh, what should I do? Of course, it's good to investigate what types of trainings there are, what their benefits are, right? But at some point, you're going to have to take the theoretic knowledge and put it into practice because you can talk all you want, but it's the actions that matter, right? So that's what we're going to do today. And I would say if you're starting new types of training, don't go balls to the wall, hard as fuck from the start, make sure that you build up slowly. It's like, when you're a beginner, you start up slowly in your training. But every time you do a new type of training, you're also kind of a beginner. You're going to experience newbie gains and you want to extend those newbie gains over a period of time so that you can get more out of them. So when I start a new type of training like today, I'm going to make sure, that I'm not going to my maximum. I'm going to make sure that I'm doing the form as good as I can, right? Get the techniques down of what I have to do and basically go up from there slowly but steadily. And eventually, I'll hit a new plateau and change up my training again. So I'm gonna catch you outside. How about that for some Nordic curls? I'm gonna do, I don't know how many sets, but I'm gonna do a couple sets of just normal Nordic curls. All right, let's do the first set. 3 Nordic curls I'm gonna try, which is only 30% of my PR, but my PR ribs were not very clean, whereas now I'm gonna aim to keep my body as straight as possible and basically see what happens, Whew. Let's do a couple more sets. All right, 3 sets down. My cough is almost cramping, but I think I'm gonna 2 more sets, that would mean 15 Nordic curls in total, which might be like a volume PR for one training, but from here on out, it's only gonna get more. Gonna go from 15, eventually to 30, 40, 50 Nordics in one training. That's what I'm aiming for. So, I'm not really aiming for 50 specifically, but as much as possible, We're gonna squeeze everything we can out of this new recipe of training. Well, well, well. Look who we have here. Oh, all right. That was fucking heavy. Let's do one more set of assisted reps to get a good pump and then move on to squats. Okie dokie, so hamstrings, not baked, but I would say cooked, that's a more appropriate term. So the cake has been cooked, my hamstrings are done, which means we are moving on to pistol squats to get some quadriceps work, right? Conveniently, there are 2 dumbbells of 16 kilos screaming to be hoisted into the air, specifically for 3 sets of 6 reps, which is a little bit more than last time, I decide my reps based on my previous trainings. I have a general direction of where I want to go, I want to build the base with a bit of a higher rep range. I was doing 2 reps sets, but that's like really power focused. These ones are like 5 to 6 reps fast. The time under tension is longer, right? And I want to build my base there. So as long as I'm doing that, building up the weight bit by bit, building up the reps bit by bit, I'm heading in the right direction. I don't really foresee, every training, like in a couple of weeks I have to do this, in a couple of weeks I have to do that. No, I just, go training by training, take life one day at a time and see from there. But, this is going to be a good training. If I can get this done, probably we'll move up in some weight the next time. And basically, like, the motto is go a little bit harder than last time, right? This is some basics from Greg Doucette, if you know the guy. So you just go a little bit harder than last time. Sometimes you fail, but most times you succeed because, your body adapts to the training that you're doing. And, today, I think it's gonna feel heavy. Last time it felt fine, but today, I'm, what should I say? I've been a bad boy, I stayed up too late yesterday scrolling the social media, even though it didn't gain me anything. I was tired. I should have gone to bed. This morning, I went out for a run, which was way too fast. So I'm feeling it in my legs and just in overall well-being. But, if you do these things to yourself, basically. So if you do these things to yourself, that's fine. But you also got to deal with the consequences. In Japanese, they say jigo jitoku. You reap what you sow. So if I stay up late, that's fine. but I have to deal with the consequences, which is, a heavy amount of work for some 3x6 squats on the pistol squat. So no more yapping, let's just go. Holy fuck. Oh, it feels good to be done. Oh, fuck, man. Although we've got one more thing left. I almost forgot, but we need to do some flexibility stuff, so cue the time lapse. Okay, so just as with strength training, I want to be as specific as possible when it comes to mobility training, right? For strength, if I want to be strong at the pistol squat, I train the pistol squat. For mobility, if I want to be mobile in the pistol squat, I train the pistol squat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the most challenging position in the pistol squat, aka the bottom position where you're squatting, and I'm just going to try and hold that for like 3 rounds of 20 seconds. And I still have some help, I put the mat under my heel, but I did remove the towel, so it's not as high as it is when I'm actually training for strength on the pistol squats, right? And eventually I want to be able to hold this position without any help. But for now, if I try that, I will just fall back down, so we are going to use the mat and eventually be able to progress towards no mat. All right, that's it for today's leg day. How many leg days is that? I think, the previous leg day and the day before that, it was always like every 2 days, 1 leg day. So not a lot of rest in between. And I feel like right now, I do need a little bit of rest. So on the next day, I'll see, right? On the next leg day, perhaps I will just let my pistol squats rest for a little bit more before, moving up in weight 34 kilos and building up the base further with 5 rep sets. But nonetheless, today was a very good training, Training is quite easy once you get the drift of it, There's a few basic principles that you need to remember. And then after that, you're good to go. You don't need to worry about the details. The details will come once you need more tailored workouts to your specific needs. But if you're a beginner, for example, you don't need to do like special training, right? You can do basic stuff that's known by everyone. Do some push-ups, right? Do some squats, do some pull-ups, whatever, and you will grow. So what's most important is not how many sets and how many reps you do. What's most important is, well, first of all, that you continue. Your consistency PR is the most important PR that you possess. So if you define consistency as training 3 times a week, then hold yourself to that. Hold yourself accountable. No excuses. Consistency. That's number 1, right? And then number 2 is that you have to fuck around to find out, right? You have to try the recipe to know the result, to know if the cake will be delicious. You can ask anyone on the internet, right? What the hell should you do? But the person who knows it best is yourself. So when you look for workouts on the internet, just look at the options. Look at what's there. Treat it as a fucking marketplace, and see what's available. And then when you see something, hey, that's like something that sounds like fun, Like for example, you have like EMOM, right? You discover the EMOM workout. Every minute on the minute, you do one set. And if that sounds like fun to you, well then give it a go. What's holding you back? It's like the most important thing is that you're having fun during your workout. So don't go out of your way to try things that are scientifically proven to be 5.3% more effective if you're not gonna put your heart into it, because that's the most important part. Efficiency does not matter if the way that you do it is not with passion, right? If you're doing the most optimal workout, right, but you fucking hate it and you're just going through the motions, guess what? You're not gonna make gains. And in the opposite as well, right? Your workout might not be the most efficient, most optimal way to grow, but if you enjoy it and you put your heart into it, then you're gonna fucking make baller progress, right? It's like this entire calisthenics bulk thing, for example, right? Is calisthenics the most efficient way to put on size? Is it the most efficient way to bulk? No, but of course not, right? Because if it was, then every bodybuilder on earth, Chris Bumstead, would be doing calisthenics. He's not, okay? He's doing the gym because that's the most efficient way. That's the like that's the known, that's like the golden standard for bodybuilding. But for me, I don't care about bodybuilding, right? I want to be a bit heavier, I want to be a bit stronger, but if I can't do it doing calisthenics, if I can't keep doing calisthenics, what I'm passionate about, right? Passionate about, then it doesn't fucking matter. The bulking comes secondary to the training that I love. I want to get bigger with the training that I love. So if I can't do it in calisthenics, then it doesn't hold any meaning. So, first of all, be consistent. Second of all, fuck around and find out, right? Try new things. And then third of all, enjoy your fucking training. That's the three things that you need to know. That's basically everything that there's to training. Because if you have those three under control, right, you're doing training that you love consistently, and you're trying new things out, how the fuck are you not gonna progress, right? It's gonna be very difficult not to progress, trust me. So anyway, that's it for today's training. I'm actually gonna head to my parents for some dinner now. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow for a push day. Whew. Oh, I feel it when I flex.